Coming up this week on KISS My Kollectibles, we talk with Steve Stierwalt of the Indianapolis KISS Expo. Want more KISS? Don't forget to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our channels on YouTube and iTunes.
Look, it's rock and roll!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of KISS My Kollectibles, your source for vinyl, toys, bootlegs, and more. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and with me, as always, is...
Couldn't get rid of me if you wanted to, Andrew Scambatti.
All right, and we got a special episode today. We're just going to hop right into it and skip our normal show and tell. Well, I don't know. Andrew, you want to show and tell your jacket here in just a second?
I mean, it's going to be difficult, but
yeah.
I'll drop a picture in later, but I just got this today. One of the Gene Simmons Band official hoodies. You could purchase them at the Kiss Monster Mini Golf location at the Rio in Las Vegas. And I believe you could also purchase some of the stuff online through genesimmons.com. So it's really cool. It's an embroidered hoodie, and I really like it. And
Very cool.
Go buy yours.
Awesome.
What's on the back?
There's actually a Gene Simmons Band crest where it's like I'll have to drop in a picture of that later with like the axe base and the money bag, and it's actually I saw it. It's actually really cool.
Yeah, it
We
looks
have
cool.
to wear it in Indy since they're going to be there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right. So joining us today is a very special guest, Mr. Steve Stierwalt. Steve is...
I wouldn't say special.
he's from, obviously, if you buy KISS merchandise online, I'm sure you know KissArmyWarehouse.com. Very, very reputable, longtime dealers. I've bought lots of stuff through KissArmyWarehouse.com. And he's also with the Indianapolis KISS Expo, which is enjoying their 20th anniversary this year, which is mind-blowing to me. So, Steve, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
we're excited about 20 years now. I've only been doing it 15 with Keith, but he's been doing it the whole 20. I've been at all of them. But,
right.
He's the one that started it.
I mean, did you ever think that it would last for this long?
Yeah, because I mean, there's a few different things with it. I mean, I think we put a lot of time into it, and I think that the fans appreciate the time that we put into it. Mm-hmm. So I can't. The problem is with some of these other ones. I mean, Andrew, I know you've been to a lot of them. Jason, I know we don't know each other that well, but I know you used to go to Atlanta and Charlotte, New York, all these different expos, Chicago. There was a lot of different ones that were going on over the last 20 years, and they kind of do them once and then go away and maybe come back 5 years later, you know?
Right.
So it's a financial thing too. Most people don't understand that, you know, this isn't cheap to do these things. I mean, we, like with this one this year, Keith and I decided to throw the budget out the window.
No kidding, right?
So for those of you people that don't know, the 20th anniversary of the Indianapolis KISS Expo is coming up. It is 2 days, May 12th and May 13th in Indianapolis. So go to KissArmyWarehouse.com and you'll see the written matter on the screen where you could buy tickets, reserve your hotel rooms. I mean, I'm assuming the hotel is probably sold out at this point. It always is every year.
Well, I know, and I haven't checked in a week or so. I know Saturday they were close to selling out. Friday was already sold out, and then I think they still had some rooms on Sunday. But there's a couple of hotels that are like right across the street. You walk right across the street to the hotel.
That's where I'm booked. We booked across the street. So
yeah.
So
and I booked on Jason's couch, so that's where I'll be. So Steve, kind of go over. Tell us who the guests are for this expo. Why is this one the biggest one?
Oh, you tell me. You're supposed to do your research.
Well, yeah. I did, but they don't want to hear me talk. They want to hear you talk.
Well, I have to be careful because some of them haven't been announced yet. So we still got a few things coming.
That's cool. Cool.
Yeah, you got. I really have to sit and think about it. You got so many. Of course, Eric Singer, drummer from KISS. Can't beat having a KISS member there.
Nope.
Even though Eric's been to I think all 20 over the last 20 years. He and Bruce. So I know we got Bob Kulick coming. We got Ace coming. So all really people care about was Ace really in the beginning. But then we started announcing these other guys, like Mark Slaughter and some of the other guys. And they're going nuts now. I mean, it kind of went viral really fast. We put that announcement up for the VIP and platinum tickets, and we kind of weren't ready for it. We put it up, and it went bonkers. I mean,
bought mine immediately.
Yeah, we were sold out of platinum and VIP in about 48 hours.
Wow.
So and I've had some questions this week because we put some up back and forth. We've gotten some that people have credit card issues or whatever, and they lose the ticket or they can't afford the ticket. So we're putting them back up gradually. So we may have to do something next week to like put them all up at one time because we got all kinds of people hitting us up about them.
Wow.
Yeah, saw the Gene Simmons band was added. Was it yesterday or something?
Yeah.
And I mean, I have to tell you, man. I've been to I haven't been to every Indie Expo. I've probably been to, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And, I went to all the Atlanta conventions back in the day that Phil Elliott put on, and then, some Nashville ones that Gary Kahn put on. And, those guys always did great jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But I have never, this is the most excited I've ever been for a KISS Expo. And I didn't think that was possible, because, a lot of people, especially the old timers that went to the New York and the New Jersey conventions and the Providence, Rhode Island.
Wait, am I an old timer now? Because I've been to, I was at those New York conventions back
No,
in the day.
You were 4 years old.
There's no way you went to New York. No way you went to New York. So, the old timers, they always kind of say, well, eBay killed the expo and all of that stuff, because the vintage dealers aren't there anymore. And but I have to tell you, man, I have never been more excited for an expo ever in my life. And
I tell you, the thing I'm most excited about, and Keith and I have talked about this for about 2 or 3 years, is about having the guys from Frehley's Comet.
I know, man.
I was a huge fan when that band was going around. I've been to some shows, and when I was on Keith hard about this, I said, man, we really need to try and pull this off if we can do it. And so we were able to get Anton to agree, and that's a big deal. Let me tell you.
He's the only one I still need on my Frehley's Comet LP is Anton.
Right. And Anton does it all right on his own. He doesn't need KISS Expos, so it's a big deal to pull him into this.
So, I guess the burning question, it's not up on the website that I saw. Mm-hmm. And obviously Ace is setting in and playing with some people. He's playing with the Kulik brothers, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe he's going to set in and play with who's he playing with on Sunday? He's playing with somebody else.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Can't remember.
Bob and Bruce, maybe?
He's playing with Bob and Bruce. I know that. Anyway, I think
he's playing with Todd Kearns, and I think those guys.
Yeah.
Right. So is there any chance of getting him to set in and play Anton play, and who knows?
You're gonna have to keep checking KISS Army Warehouse for details.
Yeah. That's a good answer. Because man, I never got to see Frehley's Comet with that.
Oh wow, yeah, I saw him on the first tour.
Oh man, that's amazing. So yeah. So anyway,
who knows? I wasn't born, so I couldn't. I wasn't born.
Yeah, you weren't born.
Well, it's funny. The first Frehley's Comet tour, it did come to where I live here in Lakewood, Ohio. They actually played a theater that's literally around the corner from my house. They played the old Fantasy Theater here in Lakewood on their first tour. I mean, obviously, I wasn't there, but they did play here.
Here in Indianapolis, they played at this place called the Sherwood Country Club. That's where I went to my junior prom.
Oh wow!
Prom. So and that now the place has been leveled and it's condos, so it's not even there anymore.
Well, I look at the lineup and I just keep thinking, is there enough? Are there enough hours in the day to get? Yeah, right.
That's why there's 2 days.
No, we don't care.
Yeah. So it's going to be very exciting.
You're going to see some things you probably that you would never think you would never see.
It's unbelievable.
I'll put it to you that way.
Well, kudos to you and Keith for being able to pull this off. So everybody's.
What's really cool about this expo is I kind of heard about the Indianapolis KISS Expo Folklore back in the day. I'm a New Jersey guy, so I always went to those New Jersey expos. I went to the New Jersey Expo every year. I even went to it before it was at the Rothman Center, when it was at the Meadowlands Hilton, and the band Firehouse showed up. I mean, I was 5 years old, but I was there. So
is that when Richie was doing all those?
Correct. I went to most of the
When was he at the Rothman Center?
I think the first Rothman Center might have been 93.
Oh, that was before me. I think the first New York one I went to was probably 99.
Yeah, so I think, and I was at that one, because Mark St. John was the guest, and that's the first KISS member I met.
Yeah.
So I think it was either 92 or 93 when they did the Rothman Center. I think it was the year Peter Criss was there, so it was whatever year that was, 92 or 93. I didn't go to that one. I did go to one with Ace years ago, but I kind of heard about that. I heard about that the New York ones were great, and by the time I moved out here to Cleveland, the New York ones had already moved out of the Rothman Center. There weren't really any big expos anymore. Talk a little bit about how you kept the expo going and how you kept it growing and sustained it for so many years.
I don't think there's really a secret sauce. I mean, the big thing is just to keep doing it. I mean, the fans in Indianapolis expect it, of course. I mean, because it's May, April, March. They want it in the spring. You know, we've tried to do them outside the spring and summer, like June, and they don't seem to work as well. But I really don't think there's a secret sauce to it. It's just going out and doing it. These fans here have supported it and come every year. So we know we're not going to lose money on the event.
Hopefully.
You know, that's a big thing too. I mean, like a lot of these things go away because these guys, they don't manage it correctly.
Right.
And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but you can't plan an event counting on the cash that's coming from the event. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You know, you can't do that. So I think a lot of these guys that do one-offs, that's what they do. They're banking on getting rich off of one KISS Expo, and let me tell you, it doesn't work that way.
For sure.
So what came first? Did your involvement with the Indianapolis KISS Expo come first, or did the Kiss Freaks website come first?
Yeah, Kiss Freaks came first. I started that back in probably the early 90s. I was kind of teaching myself HTML. And at that time, there was only a couple Kiss sites out. Mike Bramble was doing Kiss Otaku, and
Right.
There was one Kiss Connoisseurs, which I kind of liked. But there really wasn't anything out there. And the only thing you could find is like on those listservs. You could go out and you could find images of Kiss,
Right.
you know, stuff like that. And so it was just kind of a thing for me. I wanted to learn how to do HTML, so I started doing the site. So probably about 2 years into it, fans started sending me stuff. They'd send me artwork and gossip and stuff like that, and we started putting it up. And then a couple years into it, a company called Fandom contacted me, which now I think they were bought out by Fangora magazine, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
So they contacted me and said, "Hey, we're putting this big thing together of a group of sites. Like it'll be 007, South Park, Superman, Kiss, all these things under one umbrella. Then we're going to have a back end store to it, and where we can sell merchandise and make money. And then they're going to sell ads to make to do traffic and things like that to get it on there." So they kind of talked me into it. They blew through a bunch of cash in about a year and a half, 2 years. They flew me out to California a few times. One thing was the owner of the company pulled me in his office one time when I was out in California, and he goes, "I gotta play this voicemail for you." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, it's from Gene." I go, "Okay." So he goes, "You're gonna love it." So Gene gets on there and leaves them a voicemail, and it's basically Gene berating them about their phone system. Their phone system sucks, and that they should get rid of their phone system if they want to continue in business. So yeah, I got a real kick out of that. So they ended up, long story short, they ended up blowing through about $400 million in about a year and a half.
Oh my God.
Bankrupt. So part of my agreement is the website domain would revert back to me if anything happened. So that's kind of where it took off. And then it got bigger. Once I took it back, I kind of created a store out of it. And Keith and I started talking back and forth about different things, and I started buying some things from him. And it eventually kind of went into the Indie KISS Expo. I can tell you a good story about the Indie KISS Expo. So kind of really how I got involved. I contacted Keith right before I heard about the first Indie KISS Expo in 1998. And I said, "Hey, I want to do like this pre-party thing the night before with the tribute band at this theater that's about 5 miles away." I said, "Are you okay with that?" And he said, "Yeah, I don't care. It's fine. Just let me know, whatever, and do whatever you want." So I said, "Okay." So I hired this band. I'm going to leave the band's name out of it. But they seemed to be all right when I was talking to them in the beginning. As things got closer, I kind of got some warning signs that I know now to look for. But as we got closer, things were a little bit more disorganized. I had to replace 2 of the members of the band for him.
Nice.
Because between the 2 months that I decided to put the show on and the show happened. So that was pretty interesting. I had to replace 2 members of the band.
Wow.
So we get started. And we get to the event, the day of the event, and everything's late. They're late on everything. So the show starts like 2 hours late.
Nice.
And I made that decision there. I'm like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this crap again.
Yeah.
So after that happened, we did the expo the next day. I think there was like 1,500, 2,000 people there, and it's probably one of the best expos I've ever been to.
Wow.
Which is funny because when KissFreaks.com was still a thing, and I would go through, you'd have pictures of all the past expos, and I would look through those. I mean, there was like the pre-party ones. Like, I mean, I think one of the bands you had was Kissed, and I was at some theater, and like I was looking, like, for me, like I was like 13, 14 years old at this time, and I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm like, I want to do that. And years later, I did get to do it. So it was just always really funny to me. And every time you mention Keith, my impression of Keith like pops into my head, and which if anybody who knows Keith knows that I do a great, like, if I do it now for people that don't know Keith, they're gonna be like, he sounds like an idiot. But people that know Keith and they see my Keith impression, they're like, it's the best.
You have to do that at the expo. He'll love it.
He hates it.
I know he hates it. That's why I said it.
He hates it. And I always I remember this past summer when I was at the Niagara Falls show, and I was backstage with Keith and all them, and Keith had said something because he likes to pick on me, quite a bit, which is all good. It's all in good fun. And I just kind of looked at him and I go, man, I'm gonna do my Keith impression in front of Paul Stanley, and Paul probably would have got a big kick out of that. I didn't, but it's always like in the back of my head going, man, I could get him so good if I wanted to.
For the people who may not be as familiar with you personally, why don't you tell us how you got into the band, and just let's do some basic questions. Tell us about your.
Are you even a KISS fan?
Yeah, are you even a KISS fan? Yeah,
I used to be. No.
Right. Hey, that's a legitimate answer.
I know. I've heard people say that before.
Yeah.
No, I'm still a KISS fan.
Good.
About 1976, I used to hang out with my cousin a lot. We were at the same age, and I was over at his house one time, and I remember he pulled out the Rock and Roll Over album cover, and I'm going, man, that's pretty cool. I was into artwork, and I like doing that kind of stuff. And I looked at it, and I went, man, that's pretty cool. And he said, well, he was listen to it, so he put it on. I'm like, man, that's really neat. So then I think a month later, two later, he pulled out Dress to Kill. And we were listening to Dress to Kill. I'm going, oh my God, it's a great album. And look at the album cover. It's cool. And then we started going to the movies a lot. And we'd always take 8 tracks back then. You'd have an 8-track of Dress to Kill and Alive and all those things. So, yep, there you go.
Jason
so we
loves his 8 tracks.
Right. So we used to listen to that stuff constantly. And then around his neighborhood, we'd get the other kids involved. We'd throw smoke bombs in the street and have little concerts and the whole deal. So yeah, it's kind of how
that's awesome.
No, I remember as a kid that age, I remember saving up my money so we'd go to the drugstore. So at the drugstores at that time, you get 16 magazine. You keep up what's going on with the band, and then every now and then you have some kind of photo magazine or something like that. So I used to spend all my money on 16 magazines and trading cards.
Yeah. And it's funny enough, now those things are on the $5 table at KISS Army Warehouse at the Expo. It's buy Steve's collection, $5. Why is there gum stuck to this?
Most of my collection's been gone a long time. I don't have a lot of that stuff anymore.
Really?
Just you get kids and you get busy, and all I end up doing is ruin a lot of it. From dragging it.
Would you even want a collection now? Because I know you do have a living outside of KISS Army Warehouse, but you probably don't make a bad amount of income selling KISS stuff. Do you not want to have KISS stuff because you have to sell it? There's certain things I like. I get some stuff that sentimental to me that I either got for a band member or something like that. So that kind of stuff, that stuff's cool. And every now and then I'll get a signature on something I think's neat. But as far as like the collectibles themselves, like we got toilet seat covers and everything else that we sell at KISS Army Warehouse. So that stuff's not in my house. My wife would kick my ass.
Right. Well, it's funny because I fight that battle too. I'm married and I have a 12-year-old, and it's a constant battle because I want to, hang on to something that's been a part of my life since I was, 3 or 4 years old, and they want a regular house. So I'm confined to this little 10 by 10 room here, and KISS is not to seep outside the door no matter what. So, but I guess that's a battle that everybody, everybody grows in different ways and has different circumstances, so I have a hard time parting with my stuff.
Well, that's a funny thing that you said that, because like at our house, it's really confined to my office, which is about 16 by 12 feet. So
this is my office. I
Yeah.
work for I sell. I work for a vinyl distributor. That's what I do for a living. I sell records, and for a company out of Nashville. I'm 2 hours outside of Nashville, and this is my office too. So it's my office and the KISS room and the music room, and it's literally 10 by 10. It's a small, tiny little room made to be an office. But
And just be lucky. Just be lucky that you can't see what's below Jason, because
the floor.
The floor is just. It's. I have OCD really bad, and I have like a heart attack every time he shows me that room. It's.
My wife used to be nuts when she'd walk into my office, and it used to be like that too.
Yeah, she's not a fan when she comes in here. So, and the worst thing is she's our postal carrier for our little town here. So when stuff comes in, she also delivers it. She's not happy. What'd you get this time? So when did you first see the band live?
So I was supposed to go in 1979 when they came to Indianapolis, the Market Square Arena, and some stuff happened in our family, and I wasn't able to go, and I was so depressed. But my cousin, the one that kind of introduced me to KISS, he came back and brought the Dynasty tour book and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, their new costumes are awesome. Yeah. So I was really excited then. So a couple years later, they came back, and so it was on the Creatures of the Night tour that they came back. So they're going to Market Square Arena. I'm seeing the ads for it. And then as it gets closer, I'm thinking, Ace was always my favorite as a kid.
Oh.
And so I was like, I'm so excited to go see Ace. So we get to Market Square Arena. I get inside, I buy a tour book, open the tour book, and it's got this dude with some kind of thing in the middle of his head. I'm going, who the hell is this? Because back then you have the internet.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you'd find out back then, but I didn't know by the time the show started. So I'm going, what the hell? I came to see Ace. And so, but to my surprise, they put on a hell of a show. It was great. Yeah. The Plasmatics opened up for them.
My first tour was the Creatures tour as well, January 30th, 1983, which is the actual 10-year anniversary of the existence of the band.
That's cool. That's cool.
In Nashville at Municipal Auditorium with Night Ranger opening. So
that's cool.
I was -2 when that happened. I didn't get to see the band until 96.
Did you see him? Farewell tour?
No, reunion tour. 96.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
96, 97, New Year's Eve.
In a little, carrier. His mom.
Like a baby swaddle. I was in a baby swaddle.
Yeah.
No, I was 11 in 96. I saw them at Meadowlands Arena at New Year's Eve 96, 97. So
I can't knock you for that, Andrew, because when I first saw them on the Creatures tour, I was young too. I was 7 when I saw them, so my dad took me to see them. So I don't know how many times I've seen them. It's got to be like close to 100. Oh, I'm
but,
sure.
I think my favorite show ever, they did Indianapolis in Market Square Arena in 1992 where they recorded Alive 3. Oh God, it was good,
dude. It's so crazy. It's like we're parallel universe, because my favorite show ever was of course I can't remember the date. It was November something 1992 in Nashville at Municipal Auditorium, Revenge Tour with Great White and Trickster opening.
Mm-hmm.
My absolute favorite time I've ever seen KISS. I've probably seen them, I don't know, 27 or 28 times. My absolute favorite time seeing them was the Revenge Tour. Just killer show.
So heavy, and I love it.
So good.
Well, I mean,
Paul was never better.
You love Eric. I mean, Eric's your buddy, so you guys are.
Eric's a great guy.
A couple of years ago at the Indie Expo, I had the displeasure of kind of like emceeing like all the on stage things, and Eric was the guest. Eric happened to be the guest at this point, and I don't know what set him off, but basically Eric's Q&A turned into like 2-hour session of let's make fun of Andrew, and I was walking around trying to give the microphone to the fans, and he's like, Andrew, you have to introduce yourself, then introduce the fan, because you're Andrew Scambatti, you're the greatest drummer of all time, and he just it was like a full day of him just making fun. Like, he'd be signing autographs, and I would be like making announcements about people that have to line up or giveaways that are happening, like things that were actually relevant to the expo. and Eric would be at the table going, "Shut up! Somebody shut him up!" and it got to the point where I think Eric's sister or one of Eric's relatives was there, and Eric was like, "Sorry, he's a dick to you."
You love it though.
He has fun.
Yeah. That's what we do is make fun of you.
Yeah, but I loved it at first. Like it was like when it got to like the 4th or 5th hour of it, I was like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I've had enough. So all right, so we kind of touched on this before. How'd you get involved in Indy? I know you did that pre-party.
Yeah.
So, Keith, but how'd you actually get involved in doing these expos?
Keith and I were talking back and forth about different things, merchandise, and some events were going on. And at some point, he reached out to me about the Ace Frehley birthday bash that was in New York. He asked me about designing a logo for the stuff that was going to be created. And so we were going back and forth, and he goes, "Why don't you come? Why don't you come and just hang out and work the event?" I go, "All right, let's do that." So we get there, and if you were at that event, you know all about it.
I was.
There's a lot of backstories in that event, and maybe that'll come out in a book later. But it was a great event. We had a good time, and then we kind of started working together after that. Just started deciding he needed help with Indy, planning it out. Yep. So. I'm kind of I don't know if you, Andrew probably knows this by now from dealing with me over the few years that he's dealt with me, is I'm kind of like the logistics guy. Yeah. Right. And Keith's kind of the guy that goes out and gets the talent. So he'll go out and get the guests pretty much. And then I'll figure out how to organize it.
Good luck this year.
Yeah. It's funny because one of the first expos that I had went to, I was actually playing. And I guess someone, either Keith or someone, had said something about Steve. It was like, yeah, Steve, all he just wants is money. Then, like, across the room, you hear, "Why is it always about money?" So.
Well, I have that reputation with the tribute bands because they beat me up and I beat them up back. So.
Well, as you should. As you should. As you should. And I know that firsthand. That's interesting that you kind of got involved so late in the game. And I know we say late in the game, but like 2002, that's like, no one knew if there was going to be a KISS at that point because they had done the farewell tour. They hadn't really done much until, the symphony and that in 2003 with the Aerosmith tour. But it's interesting that you got involved that late and have had such a long history with the band at that point. So your first expo you played with Keith was at the 2003 Indie KISS Expo?
I think it was. I think so, yeah.
So
my memory's kind of foggy.
So if you can remember, how has it changed playing an expo then to playing an expo? And I know the one that's coming up right now is kind of throwing all the rules, but like,
yeah,
how has it changed over the years?
I really don't think it has changed too much. I mean, like we kind of come up with the idea of who we want to have. So we kind of go back and forth, and like I said before, I mean, we talked about this Frehley's Comet thing for like 3 years, because I'd talked back and forth with John Regan quite a bit about wanting to do it, and so I mean, we kind of start off with like, this is who we want to have as the main guest, and then we kind of break off from there. But a lot of it comes down to scheduling. I mean, like a lot of people get aggravated with us sometimes because we'll plan something a month or 6 weeks away. Well, sometimes that because we're waiting to hear from the band on what they're doing. So we don't know who the guest is going to be until that point. So that's a lot of it. You want to plan it, like this year. I mean, we planned it way ahead of time, and it was easier to do this year because we knew the availability of some of the people. Mm-hmm. So, this one's so far ahead of the others. And I think that kind of helped with ticket sales too, because
I agree.
Yeah, people know way ahead of time and they can plan vacations. So I know how that is, and it's frustrating for us too to put one out, May 1st and the date's May 31st. I mean, we don't do that, but we don't want to not have an event either. So I mean, I'd say that's the main difference is, I'd say we've gotten better at dealing with people's schedules. So
dealing with people. End of statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So do you? And I just thought of this as I was thinking about all the expos and the fact that this lineup is so incredible. What about next year? Do you fear that, hey, what do we do to follow that up,
Right, we've already discussed it. So
good.
It's going to be a total letdown and nobody should come. I mean, what do you do?
I didn't mean it like that.
I know you don't believe this, and it's it would be hard to believe with the lineup we got this year. We're holding some stuff back for next year.
Good.
Yeah, we've got plan for next year.
Yeah,
I've been really pleased with how the expo has grown over the years, because at first it was kind of like, oh, we're just gonna have Eric, we're gonna have Bruce, but you guys have had Gene, you guys have had Paul, you guys are getting Ace. It's really cool to see that those people value the expo enough, because I'll tell you something, this goes like with Paul and Gene. If they didn't give a shit, they wouldn't come to the expo. They obviously don't need the money.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. And I think, to be honest with you, on that part about Gene and Paul and even Ace, I mean, that comes down to Keith's relationship with those guys.
Right.
They would have never done anybody else's expo.
Right.
But because Keith's involved and they trust Keith, that's why they came.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, the Paul expo was a couple years ago. Man, it was great. He did a book signing down here in Nashville the day before. And so I was at that, and then we got on the road, me and my buddy, and we drove Danny Dabbs, and we drove up to Indianapolis, and then did it again. It was great. He
was great because
he was so great.
There was a situation that kind of happened back behind the curtain with him, and the whole deal with Paul was that he wasn't supposed to do it. He didn't want to do any autographs, and we were trying to make sure that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And somebody kind of snuck back there and snuck some stuff in.
So I know you're holding back stuff for next year. I know this year's going to be great. Have you ever thought about giving up at any time?
A couple times. I kind of get that feeling like, it's a lot of work. It's not easy doing these things. I mean, like, we start planning, really, to be honest with you, right after Christmas every year. So whether it goes down and we give 4 to 6 weeks notice or whatever, we've probably started planning it like first week of January. So there's a lot that goes into it, and there's other stuff I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just like you being a drummer in a tribute band, similar. Not at all.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff we want to do. My daughter does travel softballs. Like right now, she's playing. She played basketball for the school. She's playing travel softball, playing softball for the school. I got another daughter that's doing basketball, softball. My son's playing rugby in high school and might be playing in college. So, that kind of stuff trumps all this.
That is very time-consuming stuff. My daughter plays softball as well. She's a cheerleader for the basketball team, and it is super time-consuming.
It is.
I don't know how with 3 children, it's tough for us with one, and I work from home. I don't even see how you even do everything else.
Well, I give you an example. I bought a new car in November, and a lot of this is because of my job too. But I put 11,000 miles on a brand new car since November.
Unbelievable, yeah.
I actually can't believe how old your kids are, because I remember them like being young and wondering if they could count the money that they were, because they would work like the $2 or $3 table. And
Chase was like 4 years old. My son that's about to go to college, he was 4 years old when he started working at expos, and he whipping out some money. He knows how to count dollar bills.
and he is definitely your son, because I've talked to him. I've talked to him quite a bit. And like I see him posting on Facebook, and I'm like, I can't believe he's that old. I cannot believe it, because then I see him being that old, and I'm like, well, that means that I'm old. And
So when he was younger, I got one of the Indie KISS Expos. I got pictures of him like rolling around on the ground right when he became a black belt in Taekwondo, and him and Eric Singer were fighting each other. And this is right when Eric had got back in the band, and I'm like worried that Chase might do something to hurt his hand. So I remember watching that. I'm going, oh my God, you guys got to stop.
Yeah. It's crazy, man, how life just flies by.
Yeah, it is. It's nuts.
Yeah, something else.
I was talking with someone last night, and I was like, in October, it's going to be 20 years since Psycho Circus. 20
Unbelievable.
Years. So, and the time between Psycho Circus and now is greater than the time it was when they took off the makeup and then put it back on.
Sure.
That seemed like an eternity when they took off the makeup and then it seemed like an eternity. So
the best is that Eric's the longest running member in the band besides Gene and Paul.
Absolutely.
And Tommy's the longest running guitar player in the band.
Yeah.
By far.
It's crazy.
I can't believe it. All right, so the 20th anniversary of the Indianapolis KISS Expo, May 12th and May 13th. Tickets are on sale now. I don't know how many. Yeah, I don't know.
All KISS Expo.
The mother of all KISS Expo. That's the tagline.
Of all KISS Expo. And you know why it's called the mother?
Because
it's Mother's Day's weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Everybody else thinks it's something else. It's because it's Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, how sweet.
That's nice. That's nice. I feel good about that now.
I think I put up something on Facebook yesterday that said, "I know it's Mother's Day, but bring your mother. Your mother's a KISS fan. Bring her."
Yeah.
Get up and get your mother out of here.
Yeah,
That's right.
So tickets are on sale now. You can visit kissarmywarehouse.com. I don't know
And
what's
there won't
available.
be any sell that day. You better get them ahead of time.
Yeah.
It's going to be sold out.
Get them early. Get them soon. Kissarmywarehouse.com.
Platinum and VIP tickets are sold out, right? So it's just general admission, $45, right?
Yep, $45 a day.
A day per day,
$45 a
right?
day. So,
2-day expo.
Yeah, because there's going to be so much going on. You're going to want to come back for 2 days. So check out the guest list. The guest list includes Ace, the Gene Simmons Band minus Gene, Eric Singer, Bruce Kulick, Bob Kulick, Mark Slaughter, Todd Kearns, members of Frehley's Comet, Anton Fig, Todd Howarth, John Regan. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. And make
Very,
sure
very
you
good, Andrew.
make
And
sure
and we're not done.
yeah, I was gonna say, make sure you follow Kiss
There's
Army
still some
Warehouse
stuff
on Facebook, on social media to see the other guests, and also make sure you check out kissonline.com because I hear the guy that runs kissonline.com is friends with Steve, and they help each other out quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, Steve, thanks so much for coming on. Any
Yes.
final words?
Thanks for inviting me. I can't believe people watch this stuff.
Me neither. Me neither. Here we are. People still
I'm
watch
not.
it usually.
Andrew knows this. I'm not a podcast guy. I think I've watched one podcast my whole life, so I don't really get it. But I guess there's people out there that like this stuff.
Listen, I don't get it either. There are ones that I listen to, and the ones I listen to are non-Kiss ones. I listen to a lot of murder mystery ones. I really like Serial. You know, I really like a lot of those. But
I listen to conspiracy theory ones,
Dude,
even
those
if I don't buy into them, I just
Like
love
Roswell.
so
and things
cool,
like that.
man. Yeah, so
Yeah,
cool.
man. Well, our podcast is, there are a lot of general conversation podcasts, and a lot of them are very good.
Yeah.
Three Sides, what they do is great. They've got a great following. KISS FAQ podcast. There's a lot of general discussion podcasts. So when we started talking about doing this over 2 years ago, we were like, we want to do something that's not like those guys are doing, and we want to concentrate on the collectibles side of things.
Yeah.
And we started with vinyl, and that's when Tom Shannon was involved in the show, and we did, Kiss My Wax, and then we basically ran out of records to talk about over a year or something, and then we were like, well, let's move it into collectibles. I collect, Tom collects. We've got our friend Nicholas Buckland down in Australia who's part of the show sometimes, and
Hey, I
it's
collect
just
too.
different. And Andrew collects. He's just not as heavily, but I think people tune into us because we're basically not talking about our opinions of KISS. We're talking about tangible goods that you can buy and purchase, and that's why having someone who puts on an expo where you can buy tangible goods and has a website where you can buy tangible goods
it
makes
makes
sense
sense.
on our show.
It makes
sense.
sense.
On
Hey,
our
you might
show.
want to add this in too. So I want to cover this. So
Sure.
we've got a lot of people over the last 5-10 years. They'll complain and they'll say, well, how come there's no vintage collectibles at the KISS Expo?
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell you there's a few different reasons. One is we have vintage collectibles, but we bring them there and ding them the hell up. I mean, they will get beaten in a box, getting to the expo. They'll get beaten coming back if we don't sell it. And, your comment earlier about eBay killed the expos. We can make so much more money selling that stuff at the expo instead of somebody trying to nickel and dime us at a KISS Expo. On eBay, it sells better. It really does. So I think that, and these vendors know that too.
Yeah.
So it's not just us that thinks that way. The vendors that when they come, they're just bringing newer stuff that they got in bulk. So, I mean, I know that's not what KISS fans want to hear, but that's the reality of the situation. You don't bring that kind of stuff there because all you're going to do is damage it.
Yeah, but also too, I see the money going in and out the door at that expo. People say, "Oh, there's no vintage stuff there." Well, but you still bought $300 worth of stuff anyway.
Right.
I see people buying stuff, and I've been privileged that I'm able to kind of look at the stuff before the doors open and see what's there. And what I look at before the door opens and like an hour later, it's significantly people are buying stuff. People are buying
And that's a lot of it too. That's the whole advantage of that platinum ticket is you get in there first to look at that stuff. So if you're a VIP ticket holder or a regular admission holder and you come later, there may have been some stuff there, and it somebody just got it.
Sure.
That's
I'll tell you, I was pleasantly surprised in Atlanta with this Vinny thing because I'd say 95% of the vendors that were there, and it was loaded with vendors,
Mm-hmm.
they all had vintage merchandise,
And that's
pleasantly.
probably, I'm guessing, but that's probably because when was the last time there was an expo in Atlanta?
True.
Right,
10,
and the guest. They knew
Yeah.
that the guest would
Yeah,
draw
that's true too.
a ton of people. You know, I was set up with guys from the Netherlands and Sweden, you know, and you know, people coming from all over the world. That's the problem, you know, when you're selling stuff at an expo, just a regular expo, you don't have worldwide reach. You don't have people that are willing to, you know, pay you more money, you know, like you do on eBay. But when you put something together like you guys have put together for this one, you're going to get people from all over the world. And I think, you know, I don't know how you've done on vendors table sales, but I think you'll see a lot more vintage stuff there.
Yeah, and you know, like with us, I mean, Keith and I were even talking about, you know, some years are better than others, and it seems like the economy's coming back around. I mean,
Sure.
we did better last year than we have in about 5 years, and then as far as merchandise sales go, and then this year's looking even better. And so I was planning on packing light for this expo, and now I've got to rethink that.
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah.
Pack light.
Yeah.
So
Put
yeah,
Chase,
I mean,
put Chase to work packing up goods.
Chase is going to have a walkie-talkie. It's going to be running controls for me. So yeah,
There you go.
he'll be working. I'll put him to work.
There you go.
He's got his girlfriend there this year. His girlfriend's going to help.
No, is he old enough to have a girl? Damn, I can't believe he's going to college. I
He's
can't
been
believe.
dating the same girl for a year.
I can't believe
Oh,
that.
great.
I can't believe that.
So I don't know.
That's great.
I can't believe.
But yeah, I hear that a lot on the merchandise side. So that's kind of why I wanted to say that. There's I get that. There'll be
Sure.
people email me that in the next week. Why aren't there vintage stuff there?
And it's a guy who hasn't even bought tickets yet.
Right. It's the same guy from Detroit that he's got to spend $45 to drive down here.
Oh man.
So,
Well, listen, Steve, thanks again for coming on the show, and
Yep.
we'll see you May 12th and 13th at the KISS Expo.
Yeah.
all right. See you guys.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Bye.
No, we're good. I think we covered a lot of good stuff.
Do you have
Unless
anything else
Steve
that
has
you want to
some
say,
stuff-
Steve?
Not on here.
Not on here.